Oh, we're early, sorry. 2 minutes. Hope you okay to be early?
Do you want us to be early, Lynn? Sure. Let's get it.
Yeah.
28.
Okay. We're gonna wait a minute. I thought we could go early. Okay. Are we all good? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. And would we all rise for the flag salute, please? Will we all remain standing for a moment of silence for all those in harm's way, and also to honor those from 9/11, and also our neighboring township had a severe student injury this weekend. We like to make sure that we recognize him. Thank you. This statement of advance notice. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey have been satisfied by the inclusion of the date, time, and place of this meeting in the notice of regular meetings adopted by this board on January 8th, 2024. Such schedule and notice of meetings is posted at the Municipal Building, the Mount Olive Library, the Board of Education offices, in the 6 schools was submitted to the Daily Record for publication on January 9th, 2024, and was filed with the clerk of Mount Olive Township on January 9th, 2024. I direct that this announcement be entered into the minutes of this meeting. And we'll take a roll call, please, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Aquino?
Here.
Mrs. Fenton?
Here.
Mrs. Figuera?
Here.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Here.
Mrs. Melendez?
Here.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Here.
Mr. Orzillo?
Here.
Mr. Strelacci?
Here.
Mrs. Narcisse?
I am here. And before we go proceed forward, I just want to remind all members of the audience coming up to the mic and all members of the board sitting up here and all those speaking, please, for accessible Board of Ed meetings, we would like to make sure that you lean close to the microphone when speaking. Speak loudly and clearly. I will do my best. One person should speak at a time. Repeat our questions from the audience or from someone that doesn't speak into the mic. We're going to try our best to avoid jargon, as the transcribing application may not understand or at least define the term. And we'll try our best to not have side conversations, keep the noise level down so that the transcribing application can pick up the proper words. With that, I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the minutes. And Ms. Figuera?
I motion to approve.
Please speak into the microphone.
I motion to approve the September 9th, 2024 meeting minutes.
Second.
Do we have any comments or questions from any board members with regards to 2.1 and 2.2? No, seeing none, Ms. Jones, we'll take a roll call.
Mrs. Figuera?
Abstain.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And do we have any communications and petitions? The superintendent and members of the board may acknowledge any communications and/or petitions received. Do we have any?
No.
Board members, do we have any? No? Seeing none, we'll move on to our reports and discussions. So do we have student liaisons? Hello, girls or ladies.
Welcome. Clap for them.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Mount Olive High School Student Council, we are very excited for our school year to be back in swing and for us to be able to report all of our fun events to you. My name is Allison Rambo, and I'm a high school senior and the Student Council President for this year. I'm very happy to introduce our new Board of Ed liaison beside me here, Noor. This year, all of the Student Council officers are going to be taking turns joining Noor here at our meetings. So I'll pass it off to Noor.
Hi everybody, my name is Noor Rezk. I'm a Mount Olive High School senior, and I'm really looking forward to being your Board of Ed 2024-2025 liaison. Starting off, we want to discuss how the start of our school year went. We had our freshman orientation August 20th. We believe it was a huge success. We had our freshman officer elections that day, allowing our freshmen to transition smoothly into the school year and begin fundraisers and all their activities without waiting too long. We also had our transfer orientation August 21st, and we had back to school night for our parents who all loved it. We had many volunteers throughout our hallways guiding the parents, showing them which way to go. Everyone was extremely involved, and I just wanted to thank all the parents who attended. We had our pep rally September 13th. We announced that we will be bringing back the lip dub for this year. For everybody. We announced our homecoming court. For our girls, we have Teresa Zenko, Maggie Tilvis, Taylor Bush, Layla Blakey, and Elizabeth Coyle. For our boys, we have Jason Kim, Sean Lavery, Tyler Cummings, Brendan Perez, and Jacory Zapata. Our homecoming game will be October 5th. We had a mini college fair Friday, September 20th for both our juniors and our seniors. We had many colleges involved, such as UMaryland and Boston University, Penn State, JMU. We do have a new coffee house at the high school. We call it the Cove. There's fresh baked muffins every single day. It is open from 6:45 to 7:10 in the morning, and then after that, it's just a senior privilege, which we love. We are there. I am there every single day. It's really great. We also serve Starbucks coffee there, so it's a way to get us going through the day. For our athletics, our football team is 2-1. We have our Hall of Fame game this Friday with us inducting Debbie Wint, class of 1975, and Ryan Peterson, class of 2014, which I have been told is a highly decorated soccer player. Our gymnastics team currently broke school record and is 4-0 undefeated. Field hockey team 5-1. With all of our other teams coming in clutch, they're doing their best. We have our girls soccer senior night this Thursday. Please show up. Please support our girls. Coming up, we have Linkit tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday for our underclassmen. They'll be taking English and then math, and then for our students who are in pre-calc, they'll be taking practice and GPAs. Next week is homecoming, our spirit week. We have Monday is anything but a backpack, so students get to bring in anything but a backpack. Tuesday, all of our students will be wearing pink for breast cancer awareness. Wednesday is Adam Sandler Day. So love in your comfiest outfits. Thursday, we have the day off, and Friday, as usual, is MO Pride. Our block party is going to be October 4th. That's when all the clubs get introduced. Students, like freshmen, get to go and explore their choice of clubs. We are thinking of doing Pride Year Ride, so juniors and seniors who are available to drive can bring their car, deck it out in their best Mount Olive spirit, and can win a prize. We do have our NJSAC on October 8th at TCNJ. All of our student council officers get to go and meet other student council officers from around New Jersey and forge new connections. Haunted Hallways is coming up at the end of October 30th. That is the end of October. For Halloween, that is where we deck out our hallways and show our best school Halloween spirit. And it's a competition. And we will win this year, guys. Our seniors will win this year. Our NEHS induction ceremony is October 16th, so please support that as well. Our Safe Trick or Treat is October 23rd. That's when we get the little kids from around town to go and safely trick or treat around our track. We have all of our clubs bring out candy and games to just make the little kids have a great time. Our PSAT is going to be October 16th for all of the underclassmen, as well as an ACT on October 16th with another practice SAT for this underclassmen. We are going to have 2 guest speakers coming through in October. We're going to have Stephen Hill come October 4th for the 10th grade to discuss the control of dangerous substances. And we are going to have Detective Tim Schumacher come on October 8th in the evening for a freshman awareness night to talk about the dangers of vaping. But any parents are allowed to attend. We have our Broadway night for Drama Club, October 20th. It's when they put a compilation of different movies together. And then the Drama Club does have their fall play right before Thanksgiving. They're doing the prom. And our Broadway shows and our plays are the best ever. So please come show your support. And that's all we have for today. That is our report. More to come next meeting. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Do any board members have any questions for student liaisons? No? Mr. Stansberry, can we get a list of all those items? It is a busy, busy month.
Yeah, it's also in Mr. Stansberry's update, so he gets out.
If you read it.
Yes, if you read it, that's correct.
Perfect, thank you. And do we have any other? We're good students? You sure? They're looking at me. And move on to our superintendent report.
Are we going to take a pause right now?
Yep, we're actually going to pause the meeting for something special. Do we need a motion to pause the meeting?
No, you can just pause.
Okay, we're going to hit pause on our meeting right now for something. I want you to.
No.
You want me to come too?
Yes, you.
Okay. Yeah, you take the pictures.
Careful.
Can I ask, Ms. Sharman, can you take the lead if we need to take any minutes here? Because Ms. Jones, you need to stand up. You're over here, okay? Parting us, we have a individual here that has been how many years?
32?
But who's counting? So those who don't always get to see Mrs. Jones over here is the magic behind the curtain, we'll call it. And Miss Lynn Jones, after 32 years as our district's board secretary, and many other hats, titles, and jobs that I'm going to call you a unicorn because I don't think anyone else can really match you. So, Miss Jones, thank you for everything. I'm the newer one, so I have someone who knows way all your dirty secrets, I'm sure. And I'm going to ask Mr. Strelacci, can you do the honor of saying a few words about Mrs. Jones?
I could say 1,000 words about her. This lady here has been our board secretary for many years. She anticipates our needs. We don't even ask her. When we need something, she's already done it for us. But in addition to that, she is a CPA, and she's been performing our audits for us. She's been the assistant business administrator for us. That's unusual in any school district, but she fulfilled both of those roles. You know, I can talk all night long about her, but there's no words that I can come up with, no adjectives that I could give her that would warrant her honor, really. I was on the board when we hired Lynn. That's how long ago it was, and it was probably one of the best hires that this district ever made. There's never been a complaint about her. Everybody admires her. Everybody confides in her. So, I mean, I don't know what else I can say, except these flowers are not for me. They'll wilt with me. But anyhow, Lynn, we are truly going to miss you. There is no replacing you, and you have left a footprint in this building that'll always stay here.
Yes, I just want to say, I want to say thank you for all of the well wishes and all of the love and appreciation that everybody has shown me over the past several weeks, both current board members and past board members, and coworkers and colleagues and members of the community. I'm just overwhelmed and ready to start my new chapter, but I'm going to miss my Malif family so very much. I cannot even express how much. So I just wish you smooth sailing and much success in the future. And I've made many, many lifelong friends that I will cherish, that I'm sure I'll see everybody and keep in touch. And that's about it. I just thank you very much, and it's my honor to have worked here for this long. Thank you.
We also have some cake for you.
Having a cake pause too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cake pause, because your sisters are here. Yeah. We didn't want them to wait too long.
Okay, well, I guess we're going to enjoy some cake then.
Yeah.
You haven't had one of those yet. Yeah, I've not had a cake pause yet. First timer. Yeah, I can.
Oh, I gotta go get one.
For those at home, we are actually cutting cake for Miss Jones.
But it's gonna be like 9:30. Done. Sugar and caffeine at 9:30. Thank you. Call it CP for short. Cake and coffee bar. Yeah. CCP.
Yeah, we'll do one for the whole board. Do we want to stand in front, or do you want to sit? You don't know, where's she going? All right, do we want to stand up?
Let's do that. You want to do that? I don't even get along there, Mark. That was great. Here, we're gonna come down here and you can stand behind me. Mark wants to be. You get there? Yeah. There you go.
You guys can move up. It's not like a, this is summer one. Dr. Baker. 2 more seconds.
Oh, and now they're talking about her. Do you want to come in too?
Yeah.
You've got letters on your face.
Come in.
Oh, yeah, move over a little bit.
The letters are on your face. And one more, guys. I had letters on faces and I need you. I was going to ask Lynn with her sisters.
Thank
Thank you. You did? Okay. We're good? Thank you. We're good, right? Oh, be careful.
Hold the collar up around your face. Real tight, little Inspector Gadget style.
Yeah. Serve is working.
Oh, I love it.
We have pork, the cake is cut up
September and October.
over there, we'll bring it.
Excellent
Whoever
cake
wants
progress
the cake
report.
right away.
Cake, we need cake.
No, thank you.
I'll take it into closed session.
Graduation, friends and relatives, vacation, things like
I
that.
can't.
August,
I'm up for it. You're too old for it now.
No, I do eat cake. We do it.
I can't eat anymore. Just the thought of it. No, thank you.
I've done weddings for
Thank you.
Oh, my God.
wedding for Logan. I did a wedding for Logan.
Yep, that's my problem, is that I'm gonna end up with a heart problem.
What did you
All the good shit.
They were on ABC News, they were in the Daily News. I've done it all. I did a wedding.
I normally don't, for Lynn, I will.
I'm more entertained that Mr. Wells Mueller is serving the board cake right now. That's the least he can do.
All the protein.
She walks into my school. That's a good father, the kid got 4 feet, he got 6%.
Yeah.
I've done it all. A long time. I've been doing this for 2 years.
That's my problem. It's been so long. No, thank you.
I'm more entertained that this one is serving. Thank you.
Like, I can taste it.
Okay.
Like, eat it.
You're done with that. All right. I'm going to call the meeting back into session. And I'd actually like to take a motion to go into closed session very briefly for the purposes of personnel or legal matters. That no action will be taken. It will be very brief.
So moved.
Do we have any questions? Second? Do we all in favor for a closed session?
Aye.
Aye.
You know my problem.
We are now in closed session, very briefly. Can we make sure we have, can we please have, make sure we have a record? bring us back into session.
So moved.
And do we have any, Dr. Bangio, Superintendent's Report 4.2?
Absolutely. I would like to invite Mrs. McDermott up to present our newly created curriculum and the fabulous supervisory team.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you at home that don't know me, I'm Elizabeth McDermott, the Assistant Superintendent, and I'm pleased to be sharing the floor today with our supervisory team, who worked really hard on leading the curriculum work that we are going to be sharing with you tonight. I want to provide a little bit of background of the curriculum timeline. So, the yearly schedule for curriculum review and sharing with the board and the public and eventual adoption really takes all year. The process really begins in the fall when we start to look at the program of study, especially at the high school and middle school levels. And we finalize that program of studies and share it with students so they can begin to select courses that they're interested in. And we really do that through January through April timeframe. At that point, we begin to propose curriculum writing hours that we will be then asking staff to apply for, and we do some trainings in the spring to make sure that everyone is trained on how to write curriculum and what we really want it to look like as a district. This summer is really spent writing that curriculum with a lot of support from our supervisors. They then submit that work in completion to the supervisor, who then reviews that, provides feedback if necessary, and then I take a look at the curriculum as well. We share it on our website and with the board, and then tonight it is up for adoption as a whole. When we look at curriculum and when we talk about curriculum, there's kind of like three big things that continue to come up. The first is standards, and those are developed by the state. Those are our non-negotiables. Every single district in the state is required to implement those standards to ensure that our students have mastery over certain content and skills. The curriculum piece is how our district interprets those standards and then decides how we are going to approach them, and we do that so that it's a collective experience for our schools and for our grade levels. And then the classroom level is the lesson planning, where the teacher reviews that curriculum, houses the standards, and then develops lesson plans that cater to the students within their classroom and choosing the instructional strategies and the methods that are going to fit those students best. So just trying to give background. State standards, non-negotiable. Curriculum is developed by the district, and the lesson planning is developed by the individual teacher. When we think about the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, the whole goal is really that students are prepared for post-secondary success. And the standards are developed by a number of professionals, teachers, academics, researchers, assessment designers, and they span from preschool all the way to grade 12 in 9 different content areas, and really give us a lot of guidance on what our students should be learning and what they should master at each grade level and or grade band. Those standards are updated pretty regularly. This year, the state has pushed out new ELA standards. So our English Language Arts curriculum was really taken into account there. And then next year, they have rolled out and started to preview for us and will adopt new math standards in September of 2025. So besides the state revising the standards, we also take a look at some other reasons that we might revise curriculum, and you might hear some of these things in the supervisor's presentations today. One of them are state statutes, which might require curriculum revisions. We haven't had a new state statute in a little bit, but as we develop our curriculum, we'll always take them into consideration and put them into the curriculum where appropriate. We might have new district programs or textbook series that we might want to align our curriculum with, and as that's usually a pretty major resource that we invest in. New research might come out that we want to incorporate. We also just have new courses based on student interest, things that they would like to be learning more about, or really trying to keep up with different trends in technology that we want our students to be able to leave, especially at the high school level, with a little bit more college and career readiness. And the last is we do take a look at any state monitoring or auditing feedback. One of the biggest ones that we participate in is NJQSAC, and sometimes they give feedback about things that might need to be updated in the curriculum as well. So we take all these things into consideration and think about how are we best going to use the district's resources and kind of write curriculum in these different cycles so we're always up to date and making sure that our students have the educational experience that they deserve. So each of the supervisors is going to share a little bit about what their department did, and I really appreciate their leadership that they took over the summer with their teams and really just trying to guide them and make sure that we were giving our students the best possible experience. I am going to present for music. Ms. McQueenie had a prior family engagement tonight, so she did write down some notes for me that I'm going to more or less read just so I don't mess it up, because she is the expert, and if you knew my musical prowess, you would think this is funny that I'm sharing these. So the curriculum teams and the music staff worked really hard on revising, rewriting, and creating curriculum for our music classes at the secondary level. The music program goals align with educational standards and nurture and develop a student's whole self rather than just their academic performance. Our program outcomes prepare students for success in both in and outside of music, and our music program has a commitment to excellence and constantly adapts to meet the evolving needs of our students. This summer, they definitely spent some time revising some of the curriculum, and the staff integrated the updated 2020 New Jersey Visual and Performing Arts standards across all music curricula to ensure alignment with the state guidelines. The curriculum fosters cross-disciplinary collaboration and integrate music with other subjects. For example, developing projects that integrate music ensembles with our audio engineering students. Other enhancements include an expanded music and pop culture class, using interactive learning resources, a comprehensive ensemble experience that includes students being exposed to more diverse repertoire, and an advanced audio engineering curriculum that focuses on a true hands-on experience. They're emphasizing project-based, real-world learning to enhance college and career readiness with a strong focus on technology and cultural context. And Ms. McQueenie has really been investing in professional development for the staff, which we see on the agenda tonight as well, really just making sure that they feel as supported as possible in implementing the new curriculum, especially on the piece of the technology integration. So the new courses that were developed, the songwriting and music technology. This course provides hands-on exploration of music composition and technology, including Logic Pro to build practical skills. This course will be covering digital audio workstations, MIDI technology, and sampling and loops. The course aligns the current music production trends and enhances students' career readiness and enriches our music curriculum with relevant industry-focused skills for our students. Some points of pride are that our curriculum spans from traditional ensembles to advanced technology and pop culture classes, catering to diverse interests and skill levels. Integrating pop culture with traditional music ensures students connect with contemporary trends and impact. Students use industry standard software in audio engineering and songwriting, preparing them with modern music production skills. Our comprehensive curriculum boosts school prestige and strengthens community ties through student performances and projects, as well, of course, that they are not open to in other districts. So that's why I really need those notes. She's obviously done a lot with the program, and obviously the music program for our district is so strong and really does allow us to connect with the community and the interests of our students. So I am very pleased to turn it over to our math supervisor, Keith Lucid.
Hello, Keith Lucid, math supervisor for grades 6 through 12. We had 2 courses that we did curriculum writing for this past summer. We did it for Math 8 and for the new course AP Pre-Calculus. Our goals for the rewrite will be the same, similar to next year when we have to rewrite just about all the secondary math because of the new standards that will be implemented by next year. Our goal, first and foremost, we want to align to the New Jersey mathematics standards. We want to make sure that we're following a good scope and sequence that'll cover and get the standards. We want to improve that by also looking at what the state considers as major clusters and make sure that we're spending appropriate time covering that and assessing that from the students. And then we want to improve our transfer to world problems and real life application. That is one of the main goals that's been ongoing. Each unit begins with this transfer task, and it drives the why and purpose to the unit and the skills they're going to learn. Our program outcomes for the Math 8, we want to prepare and support them for Algebra 1 as they move on to high school, as well as cover the new NJSLA standards, NJSLS standards, and then the AP Pre-Calc students, we want to make sure that they're ready for college-level calculus and be prepared for AP calculus for next year. The Math 8 update that we're done, unit calendar and timeline. Teachers now have a detailed outline so they can follow a structure, know when things have to be covered within what timeline. Our critical transfer has been applied to each unit. So I have up there just one example from their Unit 1, Anatomy of a Hurricane, which helps them understand how we can use linear equations to predict wind speeds. And then, of course, we've aligned it to the new standards. The AP Pre-Calculus, we're aligning to the College Board scope and sequence, and we're making sure to review key free response problems that not only prepare them for their AP test, but will also be necessary for AP Calculus the following year. And then the new course, once again, been talking about this, the AP Pre-Calculus purpose to provide that opportunity for students to take this new AP course that College Board put together, and then prepare them for the Calculus A/B and Calculus BC. Transfer tasks is one of the key things I just want to highlight. This is something that we're going to focus on through all the math that we're going to be rewriting. Each unit will have a transfer task, and that'll be the purpose to what we're going to drive as the skills. Organized and consistent. Each teacher will know exactly what we're covering. We'll have a timeline to cover it, and we'll have the same assessments that we're using to determine whether students have are prepared for the NJSLA and understand the content. And then, of course, dedicated to data analysis. Once we're given all content assessments, and we have appropriate data we can analyze together and see how well we're moving the students forward. I would like to turn it over now to Leah Margosiak, the English supervisor.
Hi, everyone. I would talk to you about a lot of the curriculum that we wrote this summer. To focus on our curriculum, we really wanted to focus on what was the overall goal of ELA. And when we talk about literacy, I always say that I would love for students to leave our classrooms really loving Harper Lee or Shakespeare or finding an author, but in all actuality, the most important thing that we can do as ELA teachers is that we can instill this ability to think critically, to really analyze text and the world around them, to be able to communicate effectively, and to be able to do all of that to prepare for success in a global society. Because regardless of what our students decide to do post-high school, they will be working in a world where they're going to have to constantly communicate, really think about what is being presented to them, research to find out if that makes sense what's being presented, and then come out with their own point of view and be able to express that point of view. And that's really our goal in the English department. So we rewrote English 6. English 6 really, the team wanted to focus on this overarching theme of change, which is so, it's such an important thing because they're moving from elementary school to middle school. They're all around changes. But also, we wanted to develop opportunities for interdisciplinary learning. And so when we talk to the social studies teachers, they are really focusing on the colonies and how our country starts to develop and change. And we talk to the science teachers. And so we really have these opportunities where we can bring in these supplemental pieces and we can support the content being learned in these other departments by giving our students the skills to be able to read correctly. The other thing that we did for both 6th and 7th grade is we started to specify what we call the writing profile of a 6th grade mom student or a 7th grade mom student. And what that basically is we want to really look at standards and see how the state defines what a 6th grader should be able to do in terms of their writing skills by the end of 6th grade. And then how does that differ from what a 7th grade student is going to be able to This will be a year-long journey. We just had a department meeting about it, where we really focusing on what do the standards say. Let's really break apart the standards. But what's nice about that is not only do we have our goals for our 6th grade students, and that we're able to develop those assessments based on those goals, but we also have opportunities for students that are high achieving. So if they already have hit those skills, those 6th grade skills, well, we're going to push them forward to the 7th grade skills, even if they're in 6th grade. So it's a really nice opportunity. Last year, our middle school ELA teachers participated in a professional development book club. It was all about how to kind of modernize the book clubs, or the circles as we used to call it. And based on all of that learning and that information, we really revised how we run book clubs at the middle school. So this gives our students some opportunity for autonomy, so they can choose a book. We give them usually 5 to 6 choices, and they really can sit and kind of engage in that critical thinking and conversation with each other. I was able to witness some of it last year, and it just blew me away how the students really took charge of their own learning, and that's really our ultimate goal. So it was great. We also rewrote English 3 College Prep and English 3 Honors. The big push for this was to make sure that our themes really built upon each other for each of the units, and that guides the students towards self-discovery, because we end in that culminating college essay or memoir. And so the college essay really asks students to kind of focus on one defining moment of their life. And so it can be something that is very serious and impacts the student, but we've had students write about a moment that other people might not have paid attention to, but really impacted them. Once again, we're including this book club unit to provide the students with autonomy, and we also focused on including more differentiation within these units, with scaffolding, giving students choice of products, and differentiating the reading level of some of the core material. For English 4 Honors, we really picked up where English 3 left off. So they just completed an English 3 or college essay. So they've kind of discovered who they are. We begin by doing a mini review on identity, but we're really starting to bring in this whole idea of who are we in regards to society. And then we end with a really nice advocacy project, because now that we're starting to see ourselves as an important person in society, how do we start to make an impact on society? And again, that advocacy project is filled with student autonomy and choice, what really matters to them. We really did focus on increasing rigor, especially when it comes to writing in English 4 Honors, because our students are going into 2- and 4-year schools, and they're being asked to write sustained writing, very long writing, up to 10 pages. And so we're trying to make sure that we're building our students stamina for that, and they understand how to fill 10 pages and it doesn't have a lot of fluff in it. The last course that we wrote at the high school is our creative writing course. Our teacher, who's fantastic, really focused on adding some mentor texts. So students are reading and trying to really model after some really great writers. And then we also upped the additional student autonomy, because these units provide a lot of different opportunities for our students to create products that highlight that creative writing. And so really we have a couple of points of pride. One thing that I didn't put up here, I have to say that working with the teachers this summer, I was really, really impressed by the time and energy and professionalism. We had a lot of really great conversations. We met sometimes on Google Meet. We really talked through what they were trying to do, what the standards say, and then we came to a really great product. But one thing we really focus on is making sure that we have a diverse and inclusive curriculum. So we select literature that really portrays very different voices, and we make sure that our students have the opportunity to see literature as, we say, windows, mirrors, and sliding glass doors, right? So windows, they can see others in literature; mirrors, they can see themselves; and sliding glass doors, literature can be transformative for us. And part of that is including a choice and self-selection built into the curricula. We also focus, like the math department, on this whole idea of transfer goals and transfer tasks, because like I said, at the end of the day, it's not about, reading Shakespeare and being able to, answer a multiple choice test about Macbeth, but it's really about what are these universal themes, and do they still matter in our society when Shakespeare wrote them so many hundreds of years ago? So where are these real world applications with these skills? And then we are focusing, we're going to continue to focus all year on this idea of the scope and sequence of writing instruction that I mentioned earlier. So we're developing markers for each grade. Hopefully by the end of the year, we're going to have all of our common rubrics updated. We're also going to have sample essays. What does a good essay look, for lack of a better word, at each of these levels, or maybe a proficient essay is a better word. And then we definitely reviewed our standards for English language arts in this process. The one thing I do want to mention, this course is really a visual and performing arts course, but because I get to work with Jody Bosch, who oversees the theater arts program, we did introduce and write curricula for a new course called Unified Introduction to Theater, which is with our Best Buddies program. And it's a really nice course that promotes our inclusion, and it really has students work with each other. They develop their leadership, their collaboration, and then they put on performances in class. It will run for the first time this year, and we're very excited about that. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Tom Reska.
That's good, right? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tom Reska. I'm in charge of social studies, business, consumer science, and communications K-12. So, all right, so I'm just going to, I wrote mine out, so I'm just going to read it from this. So as you see here, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the recent curriculum updates at Mount Olive Middle School and Mount Olive High School. At the middle school, 6th grade, we focus on U.S. history. Basically, students are giving, they go over the strong foundation in the history of our nation. 7th grade, we cover civics and early civilization, so it kind of combines an understanding of government structures. We'll look at the beginnings of human society. 8th grade, we expand more into world history. We offer students a global perspective as they prepare for high school. Ends at around 1450, which is right where the high school curriculum will take off. The high school, we focused our new curriculum updates on 2 of our elective classes, which we had that just needed updates. One is sociology, where students explore human behavior in social institutions, and ancient civilization, which will students dive into origins of societies that have shaped the world. And these updates are designed to provide a more comprehensive and engaging social studies education for our students. So the goal of the social studies curriculum is to provide students with opportunities to engage with various historical, civic, and cultural materials, allowing them to grow as informed citizens, critical thinkers, and active participants in society. Enhancing critical thinking was a central focus as we challenge students to analyze, question, and interpret the world around them. At the core of the teacher's work is to help students recognize the importance of understanding the past and present to effectively navigate and impact the current world. Given that the world is constantly evolving, our curriculum is how to be revised to reflect these new developments, perspectives, and challenges, ensuring that students are prepared for the complexities of today's truly global society. So these are just some of our highlights. So what we did was, in our recent revisions in the social studies curriculum, we streamlined grades 6, 7, and 8 to better align with the new civic standards and to create clear and concise start and end points for each grade level. So one ends, the other one starts, and it flows all the way through high school with that. A key emphasis in this update is on inquiry-based learning, where students actively investigate historical events, civic issues, and cultural topics, which will foster deeper engagement and understanding. We also prioritize the incorporation of diverse perspectives, ensuring the curriculum highlights the contributions of various groups throughout history. Additionally, we focus on essential skill development, communication, collaboration, and problem solving. These skills are crucial as students analyze historical events and grapple with the complex social and societal issues in today's world, preparing them for both success inside and outside of the social studies classroom. Points of pride that we wanted to focus on is really place a strong emphasis on the civic education. That was really important, where teachers really wanted to focus on. Students engage in civic activities such as mock elections, debates, and simulation projects. So it's not just a teacher up there lecturing. We're really making them get engaged. These hands-on approach allows students to articulate and defend their viewpoints on contemporary civil issues, developing their critical thinking and communication skills. Additionally, we integrate the use of technology and digital literacy into our curriculum to enhance learning and prepare students for the digital age. More importantly, students learn how to critically evaluate digital information so they can kind of know what misinformation is taking place and responsibly use the technology in their research and presentations. Our innovative teaching methods include project-based learning to encourage high levels of student engagement and achievement, making connection between social studies and other disciplines such as literature, science, and economics. We ensure that students not only understand historical and civil concepts, but also apply what we were focused on quite a bit. Now I will introduce Mr. Chris Jensen, Director of Science and a bunch of other things also.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Jensen. I'm the department chair or supervisor for science, computer science, and innovation and design, K through 12. Just a couple things quick. I'll talk way too long, so I'm going to read a little bit more or less, and I'll go back and forth. But in general, over the course of the summer, we rewrote a whole bunch of classes. So some of the things that we keep in mind when we run through this is that we want everything to be engaging for the students, and we want it also to be accessible. Engaging because we want to build as much interest as possible in the STEM field, but also we want it to be accessible because science isn't just for the high achievers. And same thing with technology classes. We want this to be something for everybody. And with those goals in mind, what we're expecting out of this is we're expecting increased scores NJSLA. We're also expecting increased AP enrollment and scores. But more importantly, we're expecting increased enrollment in science technology classes, but then also when students go on to the college application and then also into career education if that's their choice. So we want to support the students in these types of fields going forward in all different directions. It's not just for college students that go into science, technology, but everybody should have an understanding, especially as time goes on and the world gets more and more technical. So we started off looking at the middle school first. Now, we rewrote the middle school probably about 4 years ago when we were looking to go to the integrated approach. Previously, we had been running subject-specific, which was like earth science, some biological science and physical science. We decided that it would be better to spiral because it better matches the research in terms of how kids learn. The rewrite we did recently, we went with a program just to kind of get our feet wet with the integrated approach and just sort of have a little more comfort. Now that everyone is really comfortable, feels really good about moving forward in this direction, we decided to take a look at a reallocation of subjects. So now we've balanced everything a little bit more specifically with earth and space, physical science, and then biological science as it rotates through every year. So now we're building upon skills and building upon content in a way where students are hitting a little bit of that every single year. So it's allowing us to push a little further because they remember more and more as we go through. Now, if we look at the high school, most of the high school rewrite, actually all the high school rewrite involved AP this year. Last year, we did a rewrite core program in the high school. So the rewrite was mostly pushed by two things. So they rewrote the physics standards overall for AP. They decided to write 4 new physics programs this year. So we took it as an opportunity. Traditionally, we offer AP Physics 1 and AP Physics C. That have been like a historical offering in Mount Olive. We decided this year that we were then going to expand our offerings into AP Physics 2, which is an algebra-based, a little bit more like EM, some modern physics, relativity, things like that. And then also we wanted to add the second component of Physics C, which is the EM, which is electromagnetism. So now it's going to enable our students to take 2 additional exams, pretty much the same real estate for the most part. It's 1 new course, and then 2 others were revamped. And then we wanted to take a look at environmental science this year. It hadn't been rewritten in a while, and there was a curriculum rewrite for that a couple years ago that we're getting caught up in terms of environmental science. That's about it. Now, in terms of innovation and design, this is an area that's new to me, so I am still getting acclimated to the program a little bit. This was a great opportunity for me to get really into a little bit more of the core content. It's going to take me a little bit more time before I have everything memorized like the science program, but it gave me a good insight in terms of the staff, in terms of what we're trying to accomplish, and it seemed that they align already to my point of view in terms of experience, in terms of accessibility and getting people involved. So the first thing's revisions. Now these are kind of like updates in terms of, names and then just some addition of material that's going to match our more advanced capabilities in the labs. And then we added some new courses. The big one, probably the one we're going to talk the most about, is automotive, which we're kind of going back in history when, the high school had 3 bays. But now this seems to be very popular. So pretty much as of right now, it's focusing in on, like the general maintenance of a car, but then also by the end of this, we're expecting to have the kids all build build a working engine in the room from, basically from a block. So should be great. I'm excited about this. It's going to be a great program. And the other new program that is not running this year, just because we didn't get the word out in time last year, is the environmental technologies. And this is going to kind of focus on the technological advancements that are going to look at modern day environmental issues. So it should be exciting stuff. Some of the big things about the program, the first one that I always talk about is opportunity. I'm going to say STEM and cover everything I encompass. It's not exactly that, but it's close enough. But, the mindset that this is for everyone is very important for this program. And the other thing that's important is that we have developed programs that are for, all ability levels, and every student has access to take these different programs. We have something for everybody, whether it's in the curriculum or outside the school in different clubs. The other thing is that we focus on real-world skill development, where students are exposed to, the materials and the tools they're going to be using in the field in all these different areas. Robotics, 3D printers, coding, the anatomy table. So we have the ability to expose students to all these things they're going to see. And then also the skill set that we look at when developing this program, teaching this, is, we rely upon the science practices, which talk about, how you analyze, how you interpret, how you communicate information. But then also we look at the engineering process, where then that takes that same mindset and puts it into design and solving problems. And the last one, it speaks for itself. Everything we do is, this is the world. This is what students are exposed to every day. If you look around, you can experience everything we're doing. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mrs. McDermott's up here for some questions.
I just wanted to thank the supervisors for coming tonight and really leading the work that they did with their teams this summer. And I want to publicly thank the board for supporting the restructure and hiring of some new supervisors. I think that that shift has really allowed us to really take strong focus on the academics and the curricular experiences of our students, and that'll only continue to strengthen as we come together as a team K-12. So I just wanted to thank the board and thank the supervisors for all of their hard work and support through that. I'm also happy to answer any questions or any comments from the board.
Do we have any questions from the board? Mr. Schlotch.
First of all, thank you. You people do a tremendous job. You really do. You go to these professional developments, consortiums, whatever you do. I'd like to ask you a question. I'm not an educator, so it's probably going to sound stupid, but when you get the test results back for all of the scores, of all of the subjects that we do you tweak the curriculum mid-course, or do you take that information, reevaluate it, and incorporate it into next year's curriculum writing?
So kind of twofold on that, but we really look at the patterns of our scores at this point, because now we've had a number of years of NJSLA and really do utilize that to make curricular decisions. We'll move units around to say, okay, our students traditionally haven't been doing well with these standards, and we normally, don't have a lot of exposure to them until April, and the test is in May. So maybe there's not a lot of time for students to have mastery over that. So let's move those up or spiral them throughout the year, so students have a stronger opportunity to succeed on that. So it definitely informs what we're doing in the classroom, and being able to now look at a span of multiple years to see the patterns and the trends in that data, I think is the biggest piece. We'll talk a little bit more about that publicly at our next board meeting when I present the NJSLA scores and some of the decisions that we've made because of those, but we really want to wait a whole nother year for our students to have that same curriculum. If we know that there's areas that we need to improve, we do that immediately and can make some of those decisions, because curriculum really should be a living and breathing document.
I'd like to just give you a little bit of tidbit. In 1989, when my daughter was interviewing at Trenton State, the person who was interviewing her said, "Where are you from?" She said, "Mount Olive." He said, "Oh, we use Mount Olive's curriculum as a yardstick."
That's awesome.
True story.
That's wonderful to hear.
Do we have any other questions from the board? Anyone down there? No?
I just want to thank you for coming and showing us your presentation. It was very enlightening, and I just appreciate your time this summer.
So I have a couple questions. One, could you explain for the public more so who is helping or working on the curriculum writing all summer? Staff, teachers, if you could kind of go through what that looks like.
Yep. So we post, based on board approval, the courses and the amount of hours that each teacher would receive to work on that curriculum. And then the teachers applied to be a part of those curricular teams. And then the supervisors take a look and see, okay, who's interested in doing this. And usually we try to get at least 2 people to write curriculum. Sometimes we try to get 4 people, just to have a variety of input and people's different experiences. So the supervisors make the final decision, and then they work in teams throughout the summer. Some people chose to work in person. Some people chose to work virtually. Our curriculum writers for the ELA for K-5 this year, which we're kind of pausing and piloting that piece of the curriculum, all did come and work in person. So the supervisors are really leading all of those different teams, which is a lot of, sometimes they have a lot more curriculum to write or not as heavy of a year, and they're really supporting the teachers. So it's the teachers that are the ones that are getting feedback from their colleagues and then implementing that feedback and working on developing it together.
Thank you. And I have 2 more questions. Is automotive running this year? And we know, if so, how many students we might actually have enrolled?
Yes.
Good.
This year, there's currently 2 sections, so it's probably about 40 kids. We're limited just in terms of, because it's so much material, we're slightly limited on storage space, so it'll continue to grow as time goes. But there's like a physical space limitation a little bit right now.
So for those at home, I had asked how many, if automotive was running, and how many, and we advised that it was 2 sections, and you said 40 students?
40.
40 students.
I'm guessing.
Wow.
There's about 20 per class, so.
Wow. And for those at home, it was said that there's a limit on space for the course. We have 40 students. That's awesome. So thank you for that. And my last question, is physics still being taken at the freshman level? We spoke about the different sections we broke out for physics.
Yep.
So if students are have successfully passed algebra, we're mostly seeing a lot of them go to college prep physics. We also have the physics honors for freshmen. But I don't know, have we done the AP presentation yet this year?
No.
We're coming off a record showing and a record enrollment of AP Physics 1. It's all freshmen. So it's...
The other physics classes that you presented tonight, though, would be classes
Those are
that
new ones.
students take later on in their career.
AP Physics 1 that's on there, that's what freshman class.
Okay, so those who have completed Algebra 1 have the opportunity to take Physics 1. So, okay.
And then we have those other advanced courses for later on.
For those that are more not like me, where I was not the science one. Any other questions from the board? No. Thank you so much. Thank you to our staff for all of that work, all the staff that worked over the summer, and thank you so much for the thorough presentation. We have great things going on in this district. Thank you. Anything else? Okay. All right, we will move on to our other reports. Do we have anything from Personnel Committee, Ms. Aquino?
We do. Personnel met before the board meeting this evening regarding 2 personnel issues that the board has been made aware of.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay. Do we have any curriculum and technology committee report, Ms. Fenton?
No, we did not meet.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Finance and Operation Committee report, Ms. Fitzgerald?
Nope, nothing new since the last meeting.
Oh, thank you. Any questions from the board? No? And Policy and Governance Committee report, Ms. Melendez?
We don't have any report at this time.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? And board subcommittee and/or any parent association liaison reports? Do we have any association liaisons? Oh, I see CPAG. Thank you, Amy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Amy Marini. I am the CPAG co-leader. So for those of you that may not be aware, I don't actually reside in district. My daughter attends from Long Valley. And so I felt that now that I'm like kind of charge of CPAG, that it would probably be safer for Mount Olive for us to have co-leaders. So that way it longevity-wise. So we have actually not met yet this year. Because back to school night fell on our second Tuesday of the month for the middle school. So our first meeting will be October 8th. We still, like I said, meet the second Tuesday of the month. And so we're happy to, engage with anybody that has a IEP or a 504, any family caregivers within the district or out of district placed in Mount Olive like myself. And so, we're excited for a new year and looking forward to working collaboratively with the district on systemic issues.
So your next meeting is October 8th, and is it in person, virtual, and?
It's virtual still. We seem to get the best attendance virtually right now.
Perfect. And all of the schools have communicated out to the parents if needed any information.
So right. So we're fortunate that we have an infographic that's part of the SMORE, as well as we were unable to attend back to school night since it's just a short amount of us, and so we worked with the district to have a flyer and kind of like our quick little notice of our meeting information at a table. I hope to have it at the guidance table as well as maybe its own little table to kind of help, and even child study team. I was not picky about where it went, Special Services works with us. I send them the agenda. I have my own mailing list, but they also send it out through real time, which my understanding is there's a special ed type of list. Dr. Bianchi would know better than me, but real time. They send it out through real time also.
Any questions from the board? Thank you. I simply want to make sure that everyone gets the information for your meetings.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other subcommittee reports or parent-teacher association liaison reports?
Mount Olive Middle School's PTO, their first meeting of the year is this Wednesday, 7 p.m., and it's virtual, in case you want to attend.
And I saw they already have their turkey tray scheduled?
They do.
In
March? Yeah.
February, March?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other?
I do.
Oh, there you
I
go.
have two.
Oh, yeah.
One for MOMAC, which is Mount Olive Municipal Alliance. We were able to secure purple bracelets for a good number of the high school for national drug awareness, and they're very helpful in helping present them with some of their team. And we are also helping with the Stephen Hill program next week. So I'm excited that we're able to spend some money on these great programs. That was a couple weeks ago we went there. So on the 19th, I was at the town council. Dun, dun, dun. So they are trying to get approved another apartment complex. And I want to be clear that this is not the apartment complex where the old Home Goods was, because that was a couple months ago. They want to do a 50 and older above the Home Goods area. Does everybody know where I'm talking about?
Yes.
So it's behind there. They are looking to get approved 3 more buildings at 186 units total. We have 75 in Building A, 54 in Building B, and 57 units in Building C. They're going to be 2-bedroom apartments if approved. So I kind of did the math at, 1.1 kids, that we're going to just round that up to 2. There's a possibility, if this gets approved, another 372 children. I just want everybody to remember that we approved the Love Lane, which I believe was a total of approximately 600 or 700 children, or school-age children. So if this gets approved, it's not going to be as huge of a bump, but it's another big bump in the road. It's in its infantile stage. The next meeting is on the 10th of October to finish the primary viewings of this progress. So that's just an update.
And that was the planning board?
Planning
meeting?
board. Did I say town council?
That's okay.
I'm sorry, planning
It's
board.
okay. So we're looking at almost over 900 students between potential children between Love Lane and potential apartments. And those apartments, did they say if they would include moderate and low income as well?
Well, they haven't gone that far, but right now they're saying no, because being that they're apartments, they are affordable. It is my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I did hear this, they may just move some affordable housing to the Village Green as they're building these, because I do believe we do have to have some planning for that as well.
Do we have any other questions from the board related to that?
Not a question, but I would like to add a reminder.
Yeah.
To please save the date of Saturday, October 12th for the Flanders PTA Tricky Track.
So that's Mountain View?
Yes, Mountain View School.
Do we have any other reports or parent association reports? No? Okay, seeing none. I have nothing for board president report. And we will move on to our public comment on action items. Members of the community may comment on any action item prior to board discussion. Please state your name and address for the record. All comments must be respectfully presented. Abusive or obscene comments will not be tolerated. And the mic is open. Please remember to speak as clearly, close to the mic, and as loudly. Anyone who would like to comment on agenda items? Oh, okay, seeing none, we will move on to approval of our monthly expenditures and reports. Ms. Fenton, we'll take you.
Okay. I'd like to approve the approval of monthly expenditures and reports 6.1 to 6.7.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a roll call, please, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And we will move on to personnel action items. Mrs. Aquino.
Upon recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to move personnel action items 7.1 through 7.27.
Second.
And do we have any comments or questions from the board with regard to personnel action items? No? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a roll call, please, Ms. Jones.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And we'll move to curriculum and technology. Mrs. Fenton,
Talking a
you
lot
again.
today.
I know.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to move actions 8.1 to 8.7.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, seeing none, we will take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And we will move to finance and operations. And Ms. Fitzgerald, please.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, I'd like to make a motion to approve action items 9.1 through 9.6.
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments from the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And administrative action items, and that is Mrs. Melendez.
Upon recommendation of the superintendent, I would like to present a motion to approve items 10.1 through 10.15. Second.
Any questions or comments from the board? No? We'll take a roll call, please.
Mrs. Melendez?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes.
Mr. Orzillo?
Yes.
Mr. Strelacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Aquino?
Yes.
Mrs. Fenton?
Yes.
Mrs. Figuera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Mrs. Narcisse?
Yes. And do we have any old business? Members of the board may comment on any item or topic that was previously discussed by the board. Any? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to new business. Members of the board may introduce any new item or topic of discussion for the board to consider. Do we have any? I'd like to actually just put one thing more on the radar, and maybe this is a combination of members, and I'll ask for our business administration and our superintendent, and maybe in conjunction with our policy committee or chair. I know that globally, nationwide, we have a major issue occurring with the shortage of bus drivers, and I do understand that there's discussion that there's federal legislation up to either amend the requirements for a bus driver versus other CDL license holders. And if we could maybe put that on the radar, because it is causing a major shortage of drivers. There's a difference between what a typical CDL driver of a Mack truck handles and what a bus driver is managing in terms of the requirements. If there's any way we can make sure.
Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? And with that said, we will move to public comments. Students, parents, employees, and community members may comment on any item of interest pertaining to the Mount Olive School District. Please state your name and address for the record. All comments must be respectfully presented. Abusive or obscene comments will not be tolerated. And the mic is open again. Please speak as closely to the mic. Please speak as loudly and clearly.
Good evening, members of the board. It's so nice to be back and see all of you.
We know
Antoine
who you are,
Gales. I always forget that part. Antoine Gales, 13 Tall Oaks Lane. And so I just wanted to make just a couple of quick comments regarding Lynn Jones, which, in my opinion, is the end of this era. And we worked together for 9 years. I didn't realize you had been in for more than 3 decades. But
She started when she was 10.
Exactly. But for the 9 years that we've worked together, it was amazing to see your quiet resolve, your passionate defense of Mount Olive to make sure that we always had our best foot forward. In working with you, you made the rough spaces smooth and the crooked spaces straight. You helped us navigate through many of the challenges, whether they were financial, whether they were just dealing with school boards. our training sessions, and when we needed a quiet space to get some good advice, you were always there. So in the good times and the bad times, you were reliable, you were dependable, and I really appreciate all of the support that you gave me during my tenure, which is the same that you have given so many other board members, all the superintendents that you served, and you did it with grace and humility. Your acumen as a financier is only matched by your personality, which is warm and bubbly and inviting. And yes, indeed, there are going to be big shoes to fill. But I hope that when you walk away from Mount Olive, you will walk away knowing that you have left an indelible mark on this district. And you set the bar very high for the next person who comes in to take the mantle to the next level. So I just want to say thank you. Best wishes on your next chapter. And I love to and look forward to hearing great things about your travels and your next adventures. Thank you.
And who would like to follow that? The mic is open for anyone else who would like to comment on any items pertaining to the district. No? You sure? Okay. We will close out public comment and move to board comments. Sorry, new glasses. Members of the board may comment on any item of interest pertaining to the Mount Olive School District. And I'm going to just start at the end. Mr. Orzillo.
I'd like to thank all our supervisors here for that job with the curriculum, and I hope to see the outstanding results. Thank you.
Mr. Joe?
I'm on it. Yep. You're not allowed to go, Ms. Jones. It's just so hard for me to believe that this is real, but we will miss you terribly, of course. I also want to say thank you to speaking of bus drivers and bus driving, we actually have 2 of our fabulous drivers also retiring after 16 years and 6 years, Ms. Jane Sherman and Ms. Donna Renee. So thank you very much, if you're I hope listening, for your many years of service. And we will miss all 3 of you very much.
Ms. Melendez.
Thank you to the supervisors. Excellent presentation. I know it's a lot of work, especially during the summer, to have the team together and to get with so excellent work for our kids, for the good of them, and be able to go to the work well prepared. So thank you so much. Lynn, you are going to be missed terribly, but I personally want to appreciate you. I'm going to keep it short because I get emotional. Thank you for helping me in my very early days in the step in the school board. It is greatly appreciated, but it's good to know that you're just a phone call away. And I will use that, and I hope we can go and have some lunch. In another topic, I would like to acknowledge the attendance tonight of one of our students, Scout Cameron Atkins, Troop 146, Flinders, New Jersey. Cameron, are you here?
Can you stand up?
Cameron is a 7th grader at Mount Olive Middle School. Cam is 2nd class rank and rank completing his journey of responsibility, citizenship, and dedication to achieve his Eagle Scout rank. As part of the requirements to earn the Eagle Scout rank are mandatory requirements to fulfill. One of them is the Communication Merit Badge, for which one of the options to fulfill is attend a public meeting, city council, a school board, or debate, so approved by your counselor, where several points of view are given on a single issue. Practice active listening skills and take careful notes of each point of view. Prepare an objective report that includes all points of view that were expressed and shared with the counselor. Cameron selected our School Board of Education to gain the experience and reflect in our course of communications. Cameron, I would like to thank you for being involved in our community, for carrying always your Scout values, and humble that you select our board constituted by my colleagues and by myself, all elected officers, as the subject of your observations for analysis as part of your communication merit badge. I wish you the best in your journey to become an Eagle Scout, and exhort you and all young generations to always be of help to others. Thank you, Cam. And that's it.
Mrs. Aquino.
I don't have anything other than I thought I was the one that helped you when you were a new board member, not Lynn. No? Okay. I have nothing but best wishes for Lynn.
We'll just go down line. Sven.
I'd like to thank the supervisors again for coming and dedicating your summers, and Ms. McDermott for helping them out. I really do appreciate all the hard work we're doing for curriculum writing. As this world is growing, we have to grow with it, and we seem to be doing an awesome job. And Lynn, I can't beat anything that they said, but you have, will be truly missed. I consider you a good friend, and one thing Antoine said was, you know, a warm seat to sit in and just to say hi. I always didn't get to visit that much, but when I did, I really enjoyed my time with you, and I am looking forward to having some more sitting time with you and communication, and best of wishes for the remainder of your life, and I hope everything is happy the way you deserve it.
We're going to swing over to Mr. Schillaci.
Just two quick things. First of all, I think we should get our director, Kevin, of HR, we should have a bigger office. You walk in there and you suffocate. Get that man a bigger office, please. And Lynn, I think I said everything I could say, except I think you should buy me lunch.
All right, you got it. Ms. Figueroa.
I echo the sentiments of my fellow board members and thank the supervisors for your time and presentations this evening, very informative. I wanted to also mention 2 points of pride. I like that phrase. 2 points of pride is to our gymnastics team and also to our ROTC members for the 24-hour vigil this weekend. I know a lot of students and parents were involved in that, so I commend all those efforts. And Lynn, thank you for all of your service in the short time that I've known you. You've been wonderful, and I wish you lots of luck and happiness. And please be sure to keep in touch with us because you will be missed.
And Mrs. O'Neill.
So again, thank supervisors, and I listened to them talk about curriculum all day. But I wanted to say that I attended the 24-hour vigil for the POW MIA at the Veterans Memorial Park, and what a great, fantastic job our ROTC students did. And I stayed with them all night, and they tolerated me, but it was absolutely amazing to see what great students they are, personally and in their vigilance, sitting there, you know, reflecting, being respectful, marching all night long, and still remaining, you know, I don't know, like happily doing it and thankfully doing it. And Chief Master Sergeant Bedell he completely has like won me over to ROTC. I wish one of my children would do it because it's just an amazing program to watch how they respect him, and you know, he doesn't have to say really anything. They know what to do, what he expects of them, and it just happens naturally because of his leadership. I did get to meet also Nick, I can't remember his last name. Yes, and he took over for the second half of the night, and although he thinks I'm a little crazy for wanting to do that with them. He had, the complete respect of the students, and they were so open to him and respectful back that it's not every day you see that, especially now or lately, but it was amazing to see, and I would definitely recommend going and, participating as much as you can. It's a great learning experience, and I spoke before to Mrs. McDermott that Charlie Ehrman, who runs that whole program, she would like to come to talk to the board about some curriculum things that she had ideas that she had to use the park for, and I told her that I would definitely say it and see what she has to say.
Do we know how many students we have in our ROTC program?
A lot.
125.
This is the first time we have met the requirement, exceeded it for Air Force. It's been fantastic.
And that vigil is held every September, correct?
Third
Yes.
week. Yep. Third week of September every year.
Yeah, and what Mr. Strelacci just said, I don't know if everyone at home heard, was that they started that program, the junior ROTC, with 15 students.
15 kids or so, right?
And Mr. Stansberry, from the start. Okay.
From the start? Yep.
And how long has the program been going? 7 years. Wow, 125.
That's awesome.
Anything else, Mrs. O'Neill?
No, that was it. And, well, Lynn, I'm going to say that although everybody's going to miss you, have a great time. Do what you want to do, and I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you.
And Dr. Banjo, do you have anything?
Certainly. First of all, I want to echo the sentiments of the board with respect to that you'll have the opportunity to attend it on Friday afternoon with the opening ceremonies, and certainly the palpable pride as well the emotions of the afternoon was certainly seen in the speakers, as well also the excitement of the students to be able to participate in that. So thank you to Mr. Stansberry and the rest of the team at the high school for offering that great opportunity for our students.
Thank you.
On that same token, I also would like to express my appreciation to the amazing supervisory and instructional team we have here. As Ms. McDermott pointed out, the board, and we greatly appreciate that, has invested a great deal of money into ensuring that the instructional and curriculum needs of our students are being met, and certainly this presentation is a reflection of that. And the core of that work is collaboration. Collaboration between the teachers who are developing the curriculum, with the supervisors, as well as with McDermott, and certainly it's showcasing how we at all different levels are working together to ensure the best instructional experiences for our students. And last but certainly not least, Ms. Jones. It's funny, I have my high school yearbook at home, and I think it was last year my daughter and I were thumbing through it, and I'm like, wait a minute, I think Miss Jones may be in it, and certainly she was there. And my time here in Mount Olive, while as an employee has only been 2 years, I know firsthand the tremendous impact Miss Jones had on both the employees as well as the staff across this district. And certainly for me personally, having brought into the seat, she has provided guidance and most importantly, friendship. I think the way that Ms. Jones approaches all her interactions is with heart. And that heart is greatly going to be missed, because certainly your tenure here for 32 years is what really grew and grew. And we can't thank you enough for all your contributions, but most importantly, thank you for your friendship. And I look forward to having lunches at Redwoods. Thank you.
And I will close it out, but not quite. I did want to share something, and I don't know if she knows it yet, but Mrs. Melendez, you've been nominated and recommended, and I'm waiting to hear if you got it, for School Board Association's Legislative Committee, and I'm waiting to hear if you actually, if you will be third. But that was this morning's phone call. I've actually recommended you previously, and waiting to find out. And I think it's something that you would really shine in.
It will be an honor.
So
Thank you for the nomination.
Hope so. I figured I should probably tell you before
I
they spring it
hope
on you.
Representing very good Mount Olive, so.
And wanted to say thank you supervisors, not only for sharing with us as board members, but for the community to see, one, the hard work that you've done, and Ms. McDermott for leading that way, but for the intentions of not just standards, but taking into consideration Mount Olive students, how they learn, what their drive and interest are, and the recommendations of our classroom teachers who spend all day with our students, and how they learn and what's really important to get to that end goal, right, of putting our students into the world with knowledge and the ability to critically think and analyze. I wanted to say thank you for Jane Sherman and Dawn Bennett, our transportation and bus drivers that are retiring. As I said, we're nationwide have a shortage. And in addition, we also have Miss Suzanne Nelson. I know that we all, no offense, Miss Jones, keep shining on you, but Miss Suzanne Nelson is also retiring, your secretary, with you as well. So thank you for all those years of service to this district. And last but not least, Miss Jones, thank you. You know, you help every board member here with the onboarding process. I will miss your facial expressions. That might be my favorite. But with that, Ms. Jones, do you want to close out with any comments?
No, I would just again thank everybody for the warm sentiments. I really appreciate it. And, you know, I'll still be around. I'll be keeping tabs on you. But no, thank you very much. I really, really love Mount Olive. It's, you know, it's my first home, really, because I spend more time in Mount Olive than I do my own home. Yeah, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet, but I'm looking forward to doing a lot of traveling and doing a lot of home projects. Just thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really love my time here. Thank you very much. And thank you for recognizing Suzanne, too. She's my right arm. She has been my right arm. And we kind of made a pact to go together, which, you know, maybe isn't good. I don't know. But I actually could have left before her because I, you know, at the time, but she begged me to stay on, and I did. And then her husband retired, and then she was kind of ready to go. And I said, okay, well, now you have to wait for me a little bit longer. So we made that pact, and, yep, we're both heading out together. So thank you. Thank you for saying that about Suzanne.
Thank you, Ms. Jones, for everything. All right, with that, I'm going to make a motion. Do we have a motion to go into confidential session?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And be it resolved, the board meet in confidential session for the purpose of discussing personnel, matters of attorney-client privilege, and pending litigation, and any, I don't think we have any other confidential pupil matters. Be it resolved that the matters discussed in confidential session will be discussed to the public when the reason, and disclosed to the public when the reason for confidentiality no longer exists. Action may be taken, and we will now go into closed session. I will take a motion to close out the meeting. All those in favor? Aye.